All right, let's see how we're doing. Um, oh, we still have a few people to bring into the room. All right, well, this is a later of start time than we have ever done, and we have not done two nights in a row before. This is going to be an interesting experiment to see how many people will actually show up. I can already tell from the number of people who have raised their hands, we will have plenty of people for tonight. We actually might have to speed up Q&A if we want to get everybody in, because 29 or 30 people takes a bit of time to get through. I want to thank everybody for coming out for day two. And hopefully this will turn out to be a really productive time. What I loved about yesterday's event is we did give everybody a little bit more time. We made the clock a 2.5 minute clock. It seems like for life sciences and things that involve molecules, it's hard to do the pitch in 90 seconds. It's different if you're a consumer product or you're in other, even SaaS models. But when we get into the molecules of the world and science of the world, kind of usually takes a little bit more information for the audience and the investors to get what's going on. So, I don't think we'll be doing the 2.5 minute clock for all themes, but for the life science themes, it does make sense. I'd like to invite everybody who might want to ask a question following the pitches to join me so I don't have to be the smart one coming up with questions on the fly while also moderating the event. It's a little tricky because I sometimes don't hear every word that everybody is saying. All righty, so let me just get straight to opening remarks. It's late in the East Coast. It's perfect time here on the West Coast, but for those of you on the East Coast, I feel for you. And so we'll get to this. Today we're focused on life sciences if you're just arriving to our event. So that means healthcare, medical devices, mental health, pharmaceuticals, med tech. I would appreciate it if you'll try and stick to just those topics in the life sciences, and you'll come back another night if that's not what you are a founder of. Love to hear you pitch for 2.5 minutes, and then we'll do a quick Q&A up to 2.5 minutes more. But in some cases, if I don't hear that there's anybody that's raising their hands, I'm just going to move us along as fast as I can because we have 30 people who would like to pitch tonight. I am recording this event. This event tonight and last night's event will be on YouTube. I want all of our life science pitches to get as much exposure as possible. Personally, it's one of my favorites, and what I love is that you all are inventing solutions to save people's lives and make their lives better and solve a lot of very important problems. So I applaud you all for picking this as your category. I'd actually prefer that nobody else get in the queue to pitch unless you actually know for sure. Well, honestly, I don't know if we'll get past 32. So you enter at your own risk, and we won't have another life science event probably till next month. So I don't know that we'll be able to get you in anywhere, but we'll try and go through people as fast as we can. My name is Mark November. For those of you who don't know me, look me up on LinkedIn. I won't tell you anything now about my background. We just don't have the time. But please follow me if you don't, if you're not already following me. And it'd be great if you subscribe to my newsletter, which I haven't been putting out lately, but I will start to do more with newsletters in the future. So, be great. My wife, Norma, is here tonight. We are essentially the ones that fund this event, and we do that so that we can make sure that this event is free to the public, free to pitch, free to attend. We truly believe there needs to be a platform like this that's open, like what we do. And I think that just based on the results that we've had in the first year, absolutely this makes sense. And it is working for many of you, not all of you yet, but many of you. One of the great things about this community is you can come here and practice even if you're not perfect yet. You can get to the point where you're perfect. Just had one of our community members ring me up. It was 2 days ago to say that because he got perfect pitches, well, he started off really rough, but he perfected his pitch here. He was able to raise money recently. Thanked me up and down how important it was to be able to be in a community like this. So a lot of advantages here, not just raising money, getting to know people, finding people that you need on your team. Norma, you want to say hi real quick?
Hello, everyone. I'm excited of our second night, and we'd like to get everyone to speak. So be, as brief as you can. And I was looking for Jill Embry. Are you still here, Jill? Okay, because she said,
Yes, I am. Zoom's doing something funky where like some
okay,
of
so
the
did you get
like
your hand?
names aren't showing up and I just kind of disappeared from the queue
Okay,
completely.
so did you get your hand raised or not? You did
No,
not?
I don't even see me anymore.
I don't see it
Okay.
either, but I would say that you can be behind Tal Lally. He was the last person on the list other than yourself. So if you will remind us after Tal, or Tal, if you say next person is Jill for us, that way we can get Jill in because she was on the list and the other people that came in after you were not on the list. So if Jill, if you want to try to get in there after Tal, that would be fine with us. Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, and then next week is Women Founders pitch night. All women, please come on back, and men, please come and support the women. Norma is going to be the host of that event. It's going to be great. 2 weeks from today, we're doing business to business is our focus. 3 weeks from today is a brand new concept called Who Has a Unicorn to Pitch? I'd love to see some people who are brave enough to come back and try and justify that they are a unicorn. I think it's going to be a very interesting evening. I hope all of you will attend. I can't wait till we do that. I assume it'll turn into a really great event. So that'll be fun. We're trying to figure out how to have more interesting events for all of you. Venture Starters is for the people who start ventures, invest in ventures, and support ventures. The event works best if everybody stays on mute, so please stay on mute. Open up the chat if you haven't already opened up the chat. Everything happens in the chat. So unfortunately or unfortunately, we have the chat. The good news is if you use it right, you can do direct messaging to specific people and engage in conversations. If you do all of your chats to everybody, there's theoretically the chat might get a little clogged with a whole bunch of chats. Sorry if that happens. It's one of the challenges we have with Zoom. But the good news is if you want to like cheerlead on somebody who just gave a great pitch, it would be wonderful if you have nice things to say and you say that to everybody, because I like it when we are a community that cheerleads on and we provide a lot of positive energy for everybody. If you have critical, important things to say, do it direct message instead of in front of everybody. The rules of our event are really very simple. Play nice, act nice, be honest. Please be honest. I mean, we're trying to hear your pitches and understand which and who you are. For those of you who don't know, I build teams. All of my investments, I tweak or help the founding team tweak by recruiting talent to their teams. I personally believe that the team is the most important thing. And as a result, if you're interested in learning about team building, you can get on my Calendly at marknovember.com. At the very bottom of the website is where my Calendly is located. And now let's get started. It looks like the first up to pitch tonight is Dennis. Dennis, get us going here.
Hello, good afternoon or good evening, everybody. Dennis Malianis, CEO and founder of Apotheca System. Three main issues we're resolving in healthcare: security, data integrity, and interoperability. We're a SaaS company that creates unique IDs, including managing patient data, security, interoperability, and data integrity. As you know, you've seen most hospitals getting hacked. This year alone, 27 hospitals are have been hacked. And so that is one of the main problems we resolve. So right now we are raising for Series A. And a main thing also we are doing a pilot integration with Athena EMR company to do a transformation to make sure that we have patient unique IDs, data security, interoperability, and also data availability. So that's my pitch right now.
We're having some problems with the clock, by the way. Thank you, Dennis, for being quick. Does anybody have any questions? Then meet Dennis in the chat. By the way, that it's typical that people are a little shy to ask questions in the beginning till we get rolling. But thank you, Dennis. I'm going to move on. Zach, you're up next.
Hi, I'm Zach Vakaris. I'm the CEO and founder of Austin Biotech. And please feel free to ask lots of questions afterwards. So I'll be very brief. We've developed a process that reverses menopause in women. Our ethos is that fully functional reproductive systems and aesthetic maintenance are the foundations for a fully extended life. These are some basic facts. For every year extra a woman has her reproductive capabilities, she lives 2.2 years longer, which means it equates to 13% longer life and all the benefits that go with that. And we've developed a process using autologous stem cells as well as protocols beforehand, because we're in the longevity game. So we don't mind if you come back for more and you take some time over it. So we have a series of procedures that analyze your state of health using a combination of procedures as well as mental health questionnaires, so on and so forth. And then we have products depending on where you are in that level of fertility health, as we call it, what you need to do with. And we have at the moment have an 85% success rate of reversing menopause. We've had a 61-year-old have children with her own after having been menopausal, and I've spoken about it at a couple of conferences, some of whom are on this screen right now. But anyway, that's pretty much the overview. We're looking for funding. But we're really looking for strategic funding. So the right people. I mean, we are self-sufficient right now, so we want to grow and have clinics in the United States. We only have one in Europe. We're about to open one in the United States, in Mexico, and we want to get through all of the, should we say, FDA obstacles that you have in the US. I'm open to questions. That's pretty much about it.
Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I actually have a question for you, Zach. Aside from being interested in your deck generally, where are you with your IP and how well is your IP protected?
Great question. So there is a number of areas of IP. So we have started the process of patenting some of our IP. The issue is that there are many moving parts. So the delivery mechanism is using a PRP delivery mechanism. We can't patent that. What we can patent is the formula and the way we apply the stem cells and how we actually source those stem cells, the best, most pluripotent stem cells. I'm not giving the secrets out on screen, obviously. That is very right. What we're trying to do is we've proven a track record. Now we need to backfill that into an IP patented procedure. That's number one. Number two, when we have previous on the IP, we have an issue whereby we know that, for instance, certain peptides will improve functionality of bone density, etc., and also has the byproduct of improving things like mental acuity. The IP of how we blend those together, we know what they are, but we haven't gotten them to market because we haven't protected ourselves yet.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Building on Blake's question, actually. Actually, I think we've spoken before, Zach, and I wonder. So this issue of postponing the hormonal changes that come with menopause, due to something like chemotherapy, for example, that's something that's been around for a long time. So are you talking about over regeneration? Which that would be something very unique, actually creating new eggs, because the right now the dogma of science is that women are born with all the eggs they'll ever have. So are we talking about a hormonal postponing menopause on a hormonal level, or actually regenerating the possibility of egg production?
Okay, great question. The latter. It's not hormonal. This is actually about creating a system whereby we're not, a lot of medical stuff is band-aid. We've got a problem, let's fix it. Why not find the solution before the problem happens? Okay. This is, so yes, the answer is fixing that system. Absolutely. And so we reverse that system and process that. And I can go into details about how we manage eggs, but there's moving parts, whether you're talking about longevity or pregnancy, okay? So the ability to liberate that egg every month and create a new egg has the ability to keep you youthful, gives you dense bones, hair, skin, curves, etc., for a woman. And so therefore, that is what we can do. To have a child as well is something extra. Sorry, I've gone over the line. Sorry, okay.
We're gonna have,
I have a question.
oh, go quick, please.
Have you done any studies with the viability? Because birth defects go up significantly when people without any of your treatments simply have children late in life. Obviously, no one wants a defective child. Thank you for allowing me to ask the question.
Okay, great question. That's a very long answer. And I won't be able to answer that straight away. I'm very happy to give you my details in the chat, and we can have a chat offline because it's about a 15-minute answer that. But in answer briefly to your question, yes, we have about 60% of the solution. There's 40% short, and the lights have come on behind you. Look at that. So okay. So I'm quite happy. I can't see your name though. Oh, Charles Nolan. Okay. I'll send you a direct message and you can contact me. Okay.
Okay, we're gonna have to move on. Thank you, Zach, and meet
Thank you, Mark.
in the chat. Everybody that pitches, go into the chat, put your information so people can find you and reach out to you. It makes a lot of difference. Jeff Stevens, you're up next.
Hi, Mark. Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. This is actually my third time on this wonderful Venture Starters, and thanks again to Mark and his family for giving us this. I'll share with you that in the last two events, as a result of it, I added a a head of product as a co-founder, as well as our chief medical officer. So
Yay.
What you do, Mark, is awesome. You lit a fire under me, and it's working. So I'll reach out and chat with you separately. I'm testament to the fact that Venture Starters works. So when last I was here, so we're building a medical AI smartwatch. It's for the remote patient monitoring market, as well as clinical trials, corporate wellness, and payers direct to consumer. And in fact, DoD has also reached out to us to talk about it. So when last I was here, this was the device that I showed everybody. And this is the device that is our proof of concept, our prototype for all of our sensors. And now I can show you what looks like an actual watch. And theoretically, I can show you that there's the sensors flashing on the bottom, theoretically.
Great.
So we're building the check engine light for you and your doctor. Cars have had them since the very beginning. And we're the first to now make it so that when a doctor gives you this device and it's fully paid for by insurance, so all the CPT codes already exist. This is a market that's approaching $1 billion right now. So we bring that check engine light, but doctors are being overwhelmed with remote patient monitoring, the data from it. So we have a digital twin. And that's the key thing that brought our chief medical officer on board, as well as the fact that we're going to be the first company that has a medical app store. So we'll be seeking FDA approval to allow third-party FDA-approved applications to be able to run on the watch. And the last problem we're addressing is that 35% of the United States has no access to LTE or broadband, and therefore no other remote patient monitoring products can allow them to get the data from those patients. And we're building a special modem, literally going back to the days of modem banks to allow that 35% of the country to be able to use remote patient monitoring. So we're the first medical wearable with a predictive digital twin. We're the first to have third-party algorithms. We're the first white label device, so our name will not be on it, and it will be we'll be reselling it to all the other players in the RPM world. And we're going to be the first device that is going to be able to be worked in the remote patient monitoring out in the rural area. And beyond looking for more people to join, we're looking for an initial only $350,000 investment on a safe. And I'll gladly chat with anybody who would like to, and we have plenty more to share. I'm welcome to answer any questions.
A quick question. Why are you different from all the others that are doing very similar kinds of watch ideas?
There are no other watches that have FDA approval for anything but ECG, Mark. And we have more than 15, we will have more than 15 FDA approved data points that are well beyond vital signs. So the first companies that have reached out to us to use it because we have a microphone on our device, it will be used for both voice and acoustic epidemiology. There are 3 companies that already have approval from the FDA to use your voice to identify indications in mental health, like depression. But they don't have any way to harvest the data because most people that are 55, 65 and older, if they have a smartphone, their kids typically gave it to them and they don't turn it on and don't use it for anything other than being a phone. So we're in the medical world, and all the other devices that you're talking about, other than ECG, don't have any FDA approval whatsoever.
All right. Anybody have a quick question?
I do.
Yep, Lynn, go.
Okay, Jeff, nice idea. You mentioned the payers. Are you giving data to the payers, or is it just going between you and the doctors? How are you harvesting and controlling and protecting that data?
Yeah, so the payer direct to consumer, right, is a very interesting model. And so the only place that the data goes is where the patient wants it to go. So it's the patient's data. We're the repository of their data. We're the protector of their data. And if they approve the data to go to their payer, we'll gladly do that. But that's not our call. That's the patient's call. The doctor, because they're the ones that they have to prove to the Centers for Medicaid, Medicare Services and other insurers that they're actually using the data, right? They either have to have access to the patient data through our portal or directly into their EHR through APIs. But the patient controls the data 100%. I'm a patient. We're not about monetizing.
Anybody else real quick?
I just wanted to clarify, you said FDA approval, you are approved for different indications or you're seeking approval?
So first of all, initially, we won't be going after indications at all. It'll just be for approval on the sensitivity and specificity of the various biomarkers that we'll present to doctors. Right. So if you have any further questions, I'll put my information in the chat right now. It's done. And I gladly chat to anyone else.
It sounds fantastic, Jeff. Love your update. Thank you. We're moving on. Mithra, you're up next.
Hey, Mark. Hey, everybody.
Hello.
I'm literally getting out of the elevator, so I'm in the hallway. Don't mind if there's any strange noises from time to time. Great to be here, sharing my business with you all, and also hearing about so many fantastic businesses and meeting great people. So Mark and Norma, you guys are making this happen. Thanks a lot for that, and thanks for the opportunity. Quick introduction. I'm Mithra, entrepreneur and a research scientist with experience working in world-renowned research labs. I built the world's most compact and portable radiation imaging device. And we are very excited because this can have a huge impact, not only for Alzheimer's disease, but also for oncology and so many other applications. Alzheimer's is deadly and devastating. We all know about that. It's not just for the patient, but for the family, for the caregivers, right? So I mean, I'm sure most of us have been touched by this one way or the other. Currently, there's about 7 million Americans suffering from Alzheimer's. And the important thing here is that early diagnosis and a continuous monitoring, that can make a very big difference for the life quality. So what's the problem, right? It is not that technology. Sorry about that.
Is that your background noise? Okay, got it.
Let me move to a slightly different location. So it is not that technology is not available. In fact, positron emission tomography is the gold standard for this kind of diagnosis. But these devices that you see up here over there. They are large, they are expensive, costing over $2 million. And they're simply not going to be able to touch the lives of people. That's not the answer. In fact, Pranatech has the answer. We are building compact, portable, and low-cost devices that can make a big difference. You can think of it as a doctor's best friend. The doctor can put it in the corner of the room. Patient walks in, gets a scan, and the doctor knows all about it. We want to make it really, really accessible for everybody. We have actually, what you see here is actually positron emission tomography, and all the complexity of the machine is right here in this thing that I'm holding. And that's the core technology. We built it with $1.5 million in research grants, and we've patented it. And currently, we are raising $3 million in seeded funding in order to build the minimum viable prototype, minimum viable product, and then get it ready for the FDA. We already raised $300,000. And today, I'm hoping to meet some fantastic people, make partnerships. And what we need is people who resonate with our vision. Thank you. I'll be happy to take any questions.
Does anybody have any questions?
I have a question.
Yep.
Hi, I'm Dr. Cristal Bidiello. My question, so what applications do you see for telemedicine in regard to this? Do you see that, I'm sorry for background noise. Can this be utilized in any type of remote type of platform? Thank you.
So absolutely. Right now, first of all, we have this fantastic technology that the doctor can use basically in the corner of the hospital, right? So the telemedicine is usually working when the patient is remote. And of course, in this situation, the patient needs to show up at the doctor. But the portability means that you can make it work in a slightly different way. Not right now, but in the future. For example, you can actually put it in the back of a machine, take it to your neighborhood, and maybe organize a little scan over there. And a bunch of people can do that. And then you get all the feedback later. So there's lots of ways we can do this. We are very, very excited. It's all possible because of what I just showed you, right? This compact system. You can put it in the hospital. You can put it on the truck, whatever.
Anybody else real quick? Meet Mitra in the chat then, and hopefully you'll get some feedback from folks here. Up next is, I'm sorry I forgot your name with RX Predict. Next time you come, if you can put your name into the bottom of your photo, your image there, it'll help us all out. Thanks.
Sure, thank you, Mark. My name is Ranjan Sengupta. Yeah, I'm not related to Sanjay Gupta, although I've received calls asking me a lot of questions. And my business impacts each and every one of us in this forum, in this community, and in the world. So I'll just do a quick raise of hands before I dive in, and it is the heart. So how many of you here believe that heart disease is the #1 killer of mankind? Okay, for those of you who did not raise your hand for whatever reason, it kills about 1 million people in the US, which is 4% of the population, and it kills 21 million people around the world every year. It is completely preventable. It is a vast market. And the name of the company I represent is RX Predict, which is what you see on the screen. We are rated as amongst the top 25 AI companies transforming healthcare. And we do this by applying AI to your gut, which is where all diseases begin. Our product is called My Gut RX Cardio. And the Cleveland Clinic came up with a startling revelation that it's not high cholesterol that kills you. It is the hardening of the arteries and the inflammation in your gut that begins the process, and then the outcome is death. Two things about our formulation. It's AI-based, so everyone gets a different formulation based on a simple stool test and a simple blood test. This toxic gut metabolite, which is the grandfather of cholesterol, is called TMAO, trimethylamine oxide. If there are any cardiologists in the forum, delighted to know that before it becomes cholesterol, our over-the-counter supplement that we are starting a clinical trial with effectively reduces and eliminates TMAO from your bloodstream. It is a triple action formula, like nothing like this exists today. It's preventative, it's over the counter, and we're raising $500,000 to do a trial with one of the biggest food and pharma companies in the country. I'll pause there and take a question.
Is it an over-the-counter supplement then, or what? I'm not clear.
It will be sold over the counter as an adjuvant therapy. We are targeting everyone that is either on a statin or wants to get off a statin. This does not replace a statin. It'll simply be, you take it first thing in the morning, it lines your gut with the essential elements that prevent TMAO from leaking out of your gut, getting into your bloodstream, and then oxidizing in the liver to become toxic.
So are there already existing clinical trials with these ingredients that make you believe this is all going to work? Or
ever since the Cleveland Clinic, and you can look it up, and you just type in Cleveland Clinic and TMAO, and they released this research, and Stanford University School of Medicine ratified it. There's a rush to have all kinds of drugs and therapies. Ours is the fastest to market. We do not need FDA approval. It's a dietary supplement. It's been tested, amazing results. It's lowered not only TMAO, but it may have prevented some heart attacks. In my case, personally, I have 2 stents, and my cardiologist is shocked that my TMAO and my LDL have gone down so much. I also lost 17 pounds. So side effect is it affects the GLP-1 pathway. And we are so excited. We can't wait to bring this out to market right after the holidays around January.
how are you going to make these claims without FDA approvals or clinical tests?
So the FDA is very clear. If it's a supplement, dietary supplement, you follow their guidelines. You don't need a clinical test. You just have to make sure that the ingredients are GRAS, which is generally accepted as safe, which we are. And then if your ingredients qualify on that list, then you can claim, the FTC will allow you to claim what the prior clinical studies have been.
Anybody have a quick question? Sorry.
I've got a question, actually, because we work with a lot of gut biome stuff ourselves. How do you overcome the issue of changing the gut biome balance between the 80-20 split when you put in that TMAO reducer? Is there any studies on that?
There's 2 bacteria that have to be balanced, Pharmaceutes and Bacteroides, right. And we do a ratio, and that's where the AI kicks in, because there are trillions of bacteria in your gut. And what the AI does, it does a pattern recognition. So you may have a different gut than your sibling or your spouse, and your formulation will be different from hers or his. And it's a subscription business model. We want you to come back and just send in your toilet paper poop in a bag, in an envelope, and then we'll replenish your supplement based on how your gut has changed over 6 months.
Yeah, I think I have to send you an email offline on this one. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, please. Okay.
We're going to have to move on. I'm sure there's others with questions. They'll meet you in the chat. So put your info in the chat for sure. Michael, Ben, you're up next.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. I'm with Illumicell, where we're beating cancer with light. But I've asked our co-founder, Dr. Jeff Hummel, to give the pitch. Jeff?
He'll have to turn his...
All right, I think I'm on. I'm on page 2 if anybody's looking for me.
There you go. Go, Jeff. Talk.
Excellent. Thank you. Thanks for everybody for having me here. And Illumicell talked to you a little bit about our breakthrough red light technology. So as Michael said, I'm Dr. Jeff Hummel, VP Clinical Affairs at Illumicell, and I'm a career cancer research professional. Everybody knows cancer is a global problem. In some way, shape, or form, it's affected everybody's life, not to mention how toxic and debilitating current therapies are on quality of life for patients. Chances are we've all seen friends and family and loved ones go through this. So wouldn't it be awesome if patients had a more natural and non-invasive way to fight their cancer? Maybe a new treatment that could not only complement surgery, chemo, and radiation, but maybe someday replace it. I believe Illumicel's developed that way. And it's a way to beat cancer using natural and non-invasive light. So through the use of our breakthrough patented red light therapy device and combining it with a natural amino acid that your body makes anyways, Illumicell therapy delivers powerful red light energy deep through body tissues, deeper than any other red light on the market, deeper than we thought possible in our preclinical tests. And it works clinically. Last year, we finished a Health Canada approved case study with a late-stage breast cancer patient. She had a terrible cancer. It was open to the air. It was a large primary tumor. She had several metastatic lesions in her spine. And she basically stopped doing all activities of daily life because she was in so much pain. And after several of our red light therapy treatments, not only did we heal the wound, we shrunk the tumor, and we impressively got rid of 3 of her C-spinal mets, completely gone by bone scan and CT scan. And so it works, and she came to the clinic a much happier person. So our red light device is right now at the fully functional alpha prototype stage, cleared for investigational use here in Canada. And we've identified dermatologists as our large early adopter cohort for our technology because they're very familiar with phototherapy. They treat skin cancer conditions all the time. So localized skin cancer is our primary indication. This is $1 billion North American market, and that just scratches the surface. So that brings me to why we're here. We're currently in a seed raise. We're raising $750,000 US to start a fully supported proof of concept study with 2 national leading dermatologists here in Canada. Thanks so much for taking the time to learn about Illumicell and our mission, which is to beat cancer with light. So I'd be happy to take any questions as well.
Anybody have questions?
I do, Mark.
Oh,
So thank you, Jeff.
No problem.
Great idea. So you're starting with add-on to current therapies after surgery and then adding on adjuvant to chemos and all the other treatments, and then eventually hoping to be the replacement for chemo and the targeted therapies. Is that correct?
That is correct. We probably slot into all of those treatment modalities. In fact, this red light therapy could be frontline. This really needs to be a frontline push so that patients don't have to wait in queue for diagnoses and surgeries that are unnecessary if we can shrink these tumors down.
Awesome. Great. Thank you for working on it. Thank you.
Jeff, I have a question. So, well, question/comment. So I think I potentially could have a interesting introduction because there's somebody that I know that is using a similar technology. Apparently it was developed at NASA, and they're seeing like tremendous results with athletes. So again, I don't know if it's like a similar modality, but it appears to be similar, at least just based on what you're saying. Of course, this is not my area of expertise, but I definitely would like to learn more.
Oh, fantastic. Reach out and we can talk offline. Love to.
Yeah. Sounds good,
Please.
Jeff. Thanks.
anybody else? Jeff, put your information in the chat and we'll move on. Richard, you're up next.
Okay, thank you. I don't have a particular healthcare product myself, but I just put into the chat the names of 2 publicly traded cancer therapy companies that I'm an investor in. I wanted to just mention these in case somebody in this room has any interest in it, either as an investor or they have complementary technology. The first is Actinium Pharmaceuticals. They use an antibody that's linked to a radioactive isotope to basically get the medicine, the therapeutic, right to the cancer cell. The radioactive isotope in time decays, throwing off either electrons or alpha particles, killing the cancer cell. They have one med that's a bone conditioning therapy for patients that need a bone marrow transplant. That has gotten phase 3 approval in the US, and they're in the process of applying for FDA approval. The second company is Northwest Biotherapeutics. They use a different approach. They take the patient's dendritic cells. I think those are found in the skin. They mix it with the tumor, such as glioblastoma, brain cancer. They re-inject it back into the patient, and somehow the theory is that the dendritic cells teach the immune system to attack the cancer. They too have a phase 3 approval, and they are in the process of applying for approval for their DCVax med, I believe in the United Kingdom first, and then of course in this country. So those are two, the actinium is a targeted therapy. It's a cruise missile type med. The other one is one that uses the skin cells of the patient to ramp up the immune system. And that's it.
Okay, Richard. Well, if anybody's interested, look up those companies. It does sound like Richard is identifying some really important companies. I hope they get FDA approval. Thank you, Richard.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Especially for your investments. Up next is Adam.
Thanks. And by the way, what a great investor. Yeah, we need more who are champions like that. So you walk into your grocery store and you want some pizza. And guess what? You happen to have our app. It's called the GoNo Food Finder. And here it is. Hopefully you can see that. In any case, you want some pizza and you go and you find a Sbarro pizza and you scan it and it says, hell no, this is really bad for you. But about 12 inches away, there's the Good and Gather pizza, which is actually really good for you. The scan will tell you, again, whether it's good or bad and provide results, grades, and alternatives. Again, in this case, the alternative to Sbarro was Good and Gather. You could do this a few more times as you're shopping, and then you check out. And as you check out, as soon as you pay the bill, then you get an email from us saying, hey, Mark, in this case, you bought 43 items and the following were good and the following were bad, and here are some better alternatives. But guess what? You know, you bought one that's bad for you. Don't worry about it. Next time you're back in the store, scan it again and you'll see alternatives. As time goes by, our AI will figure out what your taste buds want. We know that you like our anchovies and garlic, but guess what? We can recommend to you pistachio ice cream, which you've never ever tried before. So that leads to behavior modification, and of course, modifying behavior for someone who doesn't, we don't have to twist your arms into eating something that you love. 60% of adult Americans have one or more chronic disease. 80% of those are caused by the food we eat. 52% of the shoppers, when I'm done with stats, are already reading labels. We're replacing label reading with label scanning and giving a absolutely pure result based upon clinical research. So that's about the summary. 5 patents, 3 countries, fully developed API, an app. We're on our way to grocery shop next week, meeting with 62 grocery chains who hopefully will buy this and put it out into the public. I'm Adam Southam, the inventor, founder, and CEO of GoNo. We have a $2 million convertible note with a 20% ratchet and a 25% cash rebate from the state of Minnesota. So you get cash back for investing with us. How about that?
Adam is looking for advisors who personally know investors and can create warm introductions so that he can get in front of some investors. If anybody would like to be on an advisory board in Adam's company, please check with Adam. I'm aware of this. By the way, this is one of my favorite models for how to raise money, which is recruit people part-time to be on your advisory board, just because they have a family and friends networks that are worth exploring. And it's better to pitch people through warm introductions and family and friends networks than pitch total strangers. So Adam and I have recently been talking, and I know this is what he's looking for. If anybody is interested, reach out to Adam. Does anybody have a quick question of him before we move on?
I have a quick question.
Go for it.
Hi, I'm Dr. Christelle Vitiello. And my question is this: is this meant to be a personalized medicine tool so that when you talk about foods that are good for you specifically, is that based upon your blood pressure, based upon your cholesterol level, based upon whether or not you have celiac disease, et cetera, or is it based upon general health standards by the FDA of saturated fat content? Is this meant to be more personalized, or is it meant to be a nutritional tool? Thank you.
Yes, well, thank you, Christelle, and you're hired. So yes, is the answer. It's personalized precision medicine, all backed by clinical studies. We are not listening to the FDA. We're listening to Johns Hopkins, Cleveland Clinic, et cetera. And eventually we'll add biomarkers and genomics in there to really hone down so that the pistachio ice cream is not only the one that's going to taste the best for you, but it is the best for you.
All right, Adam, if you don't mind, we're going to move on. Put your information into the chat and people can reach out to you. Callie, you're up next.
Hi, Mark. Thanks for having me. So I have an equity marketing agency, and one of our clients that we took equity in is called Stability, and it's an app that I'm doing art for and marketing materials for. It's behind me, some of it. But the Stability app is currently under development. We are finishing up all of our wireframe new iteration. You'll see if you try to download us in the iOS market, it costs money, and that's to prevent our beta pool from getting too busy. We are trying to fill a gap for teen, adolescents, and young adults that are in need of mental health care. Mental health care is one of the biggest issues in the United States, around the world, and because of COVID, it has been exacerbated. It could take months and months for you to get an initial consultation after a referral even. And so my thoughts are, the reason that our agency took in is we have the ability to harness technology the right way to help children. We are looking for opportunities to expand Stability's network. We have 3 different major youth movements already committed to onboarding hundreds of thousands of high school students that are youth members. These are through youth groups and different religious affiliations across the board. It's like the United Nations of mental health care in the religious world. One of the other ways that we are trying to get involved is through a private school network. We're looking for a Montessori school system or maybe a charter school system to partner with and give free technology to. We're thinking of a tool kind of like a CRM for parents that they can communicate with their students and the parents and teachers can communicate about students, and the students can contribute, and it can all be about their behavior and not just their academic performance as well. It's a HIPAA compliant concept as well. So I'm hopeful that we can talk. And I'm in Cleveland. I keep hearing everyone talk about the epicenter. Cleveland Clinic, come talk, come visit Case Western, be here, fix the problems. Have a good night, guys.
All right, Callie. Meet Callie in the chat, and if you're interested in her company, definitely reach out. We're gonna move on. Brett,
Mark, can I ask a quick question? So
very quick, please. We have 2 people to pitch.
So Callie, there seems to be somebody else at Venture Starters that seems to be doing something super similar that's more in the space of people with learning disabilities. So I don't know if you're aware of that, but let's definitely talk.
Okay, that would be awesome. So the learning disability space is very interesting, and we've created a partnership with a movement that has over 100 facilities around the world to potentially have onboarded for their higher functioning participants. So I am very interested in talking about this. And if it's a disability that's a tool that's going to enhance their lifestyle, I'm definitely interested in helping.
Yeah, it sounds exactly like what you're doing. It's just that it's focused on like learning disability.
So yes, so we're considering also the white label concept. So the learning disability people, I hope they're maybe listening tonight while we're talking, and white labeling might be a great idea. Okay.
Yeah.
The more the merrier, the bigger the. Okay, Dr. Christelle, how are the great makeup? look so put together so late. You must not have children. I did that.
Added you as a friend. I'm very good at makeup. But anyway, the person I know exactly who you're speaking about is Christine Dodage. I would love to make a warm introduction to you. Her company, Sped Connect, is brilliant. I'm on the board of advisors.
I know about Sped Connect. Duh.
Yeah.
I met her when I was monitoring the women's room for Venture Startup months ago.
So,
Mark, I know her. Yes, you're correct. Absolutely. 100%. She's functioning.
I do have children. I do have a child. So
Okay, you see all kind of. I'm sorry, we got a lot of background. I'm sorry, I just had to mute because just too much background noise there. Look, Dr. Cristal, you and Callie know how to reach each other. You've both been in our community a long time. Please take that conversation offline because we need to move on. But that sounded really promising.
Thanks, Mark.
You're welcome. Thank you.
The Women Starters event. I'm so excited for the women founders. Yes.
Please come back.
Could you add me, Callie?
All right. Next week. Okay. So up next is Breck. Breck, you were
really enjoy your event.
Go ahead.
Well done. Appreciate everything. Can you hear me okay? Yeah, so really appreciate your events. They're a lot of fun. I've already made some great connections here, so thank you very much to you, Mark and Norma. My name's Breck Rice. I'm a healthcare disruptor, and I'm here to talk about the Fountain of Youth. It's prescribed by medical doctors. So I've been in healthcare now for about 20 years. And I get the privilege of working with healthcare professionals who are saving lives and helping patients live longer, feel better, and most importantly, actually get better. So we are setting up rural health and wellness centers inside of community pharmacies here in the U.S. Even though it's inside of a pharmacy, we're not focused on prescribing drugs. In fact, we're doing more de-prescribing than prescribing, getting people off of medications that are doing more harm than good. We use pharmacogenomics to do this, and it's not just personalized medicine, it's also personalized nutrition as well. So imagine a minute clinic kind of retail setting, but on steroids. So we take functional approach to patient care, combining conventional medicine along with complementary interventive medicine technologies, artificial intelligence, bioelectronics. We are literally trying to lay these train tracks into all of these rural communities through these health hubs at community pharmacies. So my network's about 20,000 plus community pharmacies. I've been working with them for many years. And like I said, we're building basically our own GPO for all the latest and greatest patient care solutions. Who knows, maybe your life science solution is something that we should incorporate into the Fountain of Youth here. So I have strong connections with a medical and drug wholesaler. McKesson, a couple of my close friends have sold companies to McKesson, and so that would probably be the future plan here. My ask is I need a co-founder. I do not have enough hours in the day to build this, and I need a co-founder. I've talked to Mark about this already, and so anxious to get moving on that part of this life cycle. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. I hopefully you can hear me. I'm having some technical issues with my camera and microphone right now. Breck is a winner, you guys. If there's anybody who would like to join what he's doing, please reach out. Does anybody have any questions?
Mark, I have a question.
Yeah.
This is Ranjan with RxPredict. Mark, if you go to our website, you'll see we did very much what you were doing in a prior pivot. And it was transformation through diet and exercise using genetics. And our start was in pharmacogenomics. My question to you is, have you looked at the microbiome, the gut, and have you explored that in any detail? And if not, then we should definitely talk because
I made a note to reach out to you already. I would like to follow your path in because I think it fits hand in glove with what we're wanting to accomplish. We feel so strongly about the ounce of prevention
Yes.
philosophy.
Well, thank you. And a quick follow-up, if I may. Are you interested in a clinical trial, in a joint clinical trial that we are doing with one of the largest food and pharma chains that's food as medicine?
Absolutely.
Okay.
A lot of my community pharmacies are also grocer chains, right? They're the.
I think we'll have a lot in common. So, all right. Look forward to connecting with you.
I love that question. That's a good one. Anybody else for Breck?
Yeah, I do. I have Brett. I've sent you my contact details. Just very interesting and along the lines of fertility functionality for giving yourself an extra 13% of life can be done with home test kits. So as I said, we've done reverse menopause in women at 61, and I totally understand that. So I've sent you my contact details. Let's speak offline.
Appreciate that. Nothing fits better with the fountain of youth, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm a lot older than I look, and I practice what I preach. So I promise that. All right.
Thanks, Zach.
If anybody wants to meet Breck, meet him in the chat. I'm going to move on. I know there's still 30 seconds on the clock, but I'm trying to move everybody through the system. Michael Berman, you are up next. You got to get off mute, though.
There you go. Thank you, Mark and Norma, again, for this wonderful forum. It's been very valuable to me, and thanks again for hosting. So cut to the chase. I'm Michael Berman. I'm the founder of Mindwell Solutions. I'm a stealth company as of today in my 6th iteration and 5th or 6th year of working in this project. The problem that I'm trying to solve for is the mental health problem, and that is 96% of physician offices in the US have the ability to test for mental health and do not. So how I'm solving for that, I'm reinventing lie detector technology, and I've married that and built an algorithm against POMS and PHQs and GAD testing, psychological tests that are standard in this country, and built an algorithm. And you can talk into my phone, into my app in 2 20-second sessions, and I can tell you happy, sad, depressed, anxious, and I can give you a resolution to that. So for self-care, it says, Michael, you're a 7 today. And I go, yep, I'm a 7. So what do? I offer you sound waves, binaural beats that are attuned to anxiety or to depression or to sleeplessness. So what's happened is that I've gone through these iterations. I've used virtual reality. I've done many, many things. I've opened up huge amount of doors. I've had a pilot that I did with a global company called Henry Schein. And I was on the doorstep of Northwell Ventures, and COVID came and hit me in the mouth. So I'm resilient. I'm back here again at it. I'm looking to continue the development. I have the MVP. I just finished a study with University of New Hampshire with 30 students. It was very positive. I got a lot of great feedback of what has to come next. So I'm open to a new team. I feel like I need a CTO. I need marketing. I need money for this to take it to the next step. I'd like to do a safe note. I think it's about 2 million. I do have a development path that I've laid out. I'm not a technical guy, but I've been able to foster this with teams and folks that I brought together. I'm very resourceful entrepreneur. I've been doing this all of my career, and I'm excited. And honestly, the one thing that irks me as a boomer is I'm seeing teens ideation of suicide, and it breaks my heart. And the other part is I'm a veteran, and I also see my vets and friends and people that have PTSD, and I can solve for that. I can bridge that gap between the time that you recognize the self-care and to the time you get to a shrink or someone to help you out. So thank you for listening. I need lots of help.
Great pitch. And by the way, I don't know if you're on my Calendly yet, but
I am. Tomorrow at 1.
Oh, even better. Okay. Does anybody have any questions of Michael?
I do.
Please.
So my question is, great pitch.
Thank you.
How do you account for diversity in the way voices are, as well as neurodiverse people?
Yes.
And because AI can be very, very, very biased. So how are you accounting for that?
Yes, it can. That's very true. Using lie detector technology, and that's based on all of the science from that. So I'm not really equipped to give you an in-depth answer right now, but it's based on that technology. And we built the algorithms working with the scientists there, world-renowned scientists who's put this technology together and ported from the different tests that are standard and figured out what was sad, what was happy. And so it doesn't cut across other things. You can do any voice and we can get it. So that's my simple answer to you.
Anybody else?
Yes, Michael, you had me at the whole ideation in veterans and young people. So
thank you.
So we can definitely talk because I do a lot within the veteran space. I also work with a number of local physicians in the New York metro area. It's not that they don't do it, they don't have the capacity. When you're a frontline medical facility, you just don't have those resources to be able to do what it is that you do. So I put my information in the chat. Let's talk. Let's try to make some things happen. We have a large veteran community here. I also work with an organization that's focused on veteran suicide as well as veteran medical debt. So I think we've got a lot. There's definitely opportunity here, and let's make some great things happen. Okay.
Great. Thanks so much for that. The real quick pushback on that is that, when you're going in as a patient into an office, there's intake. How are you doing with your meds? Have they changed and so forth? This is simply giving them the iPad, letting them speak into the iPad and do that mental health intake. Oh, by the way, the physician can collect $6. It's left on the table. So, do that 10 times a day, 5 times a week. So.
It's interesting, and I'm hoping our community will figure out ways to support what you're doing. It sounds I'm intrigued. But we're going to move on. I'm sorry, I just need to keep us going. Up next is Tori.
Mark, no, actually, Tal is next.
I'm wrong. Thank you, Norma.
Thank you. Thank you, Norma. Thank you, Mark.
People were in the queue last night. We promised they'd get in, but they had trouble with their hand raised. So first is Tal, and then comes Jill Embry, and then you will be next, Tori, after those two. They didn't get there. Sorry for that, but they're next. Okay, Tal.
Thank you, Norma. Thank you, Mark. So my name is Tal Lally with Nestle Biosciences. The issue we're addressing affects about 8 million patients. And these are patients with chronic wounds. Chronic wounds, typically they don't heal for months and months, and it seems to be ranging anywhere from 4 to 8 months currently. And some of these include things like diabetic wounds, pressure wounds, and venous ulcers. And so what we've seen is that the cases are actually increasing. And so what we have is actually a solution that addresses this issue with a smart technology or smart bandage. Smart in the sense that it has the ability to remotely monitor progress in the wound through sensors that monitors the temperature, as well as the built-in electrodes that accelerate healing. So you can actually do a remote visual to see the status of the wound, because it also has its see-through feature. A see-through feature is very, very important, because what we have seen in the study is that out of the 8 million patients or 8 million visits, about half or 50% of those were not actually on the second or the revisit. What the studies are showing that you didn't need to actually undo the bandages because there was no basis for it. However, it's very difficult to actually determine whether the bandage needs to be changed or not. So if you have a see-through feature that allows you to actually remotely check the status, whether it's through telemedicine or whether through a smart device, to determine whether the patient should come in today, tomorrow, next day or two, as late as a week later. So that is a tremendous value for patients who have mobility issues or have difficulty getting there, or in a care facility to get down to see a doc. So we can time it correctly. So it's a very, very unique innovation, such that there isn't anything like that in the marketplace currently. And we are looking to raise $6 million to commercialize this and get through the FDA status. And we are under clinical trials, so the human trials are expected to be completed at Q1 of next year. So we're looking to raise to do a small raise till the human trials are done, at which time we'll engage in the full $6 million raise. We have brought on board a superstar grant writer that has had a 50% success rate in grants. And so we are looking forward to getting some traction on that. Thank you.
I applaud you for going for grants. I think that's smart. Is it that you have a camera in the bandage to see, or is it that you see through the bandage to see what's going on with the wound?
It's a temperature sensor that determines whether the infection is getting better or worse, or if the circulation is getting better or worse. So 2 sensors built in and the electrodes built in that actually accelerates the healing. We've seen a 20% acceleration in healing.
Anybody have any quick questions?
I do, Mark.
Yes.
How does it work with the elderly? Because they're slightly different problems. Have you tested it more on the elderly, or is it, how does it work? How does it work in the elderly?
Well, currently the human trials underway. We don't have the data yet as to the population, but we're going to address the elderly patients particularly because we want to be sure that we're proactive in addressing 65 and over for reimbursement issues with Medicare, so that we don't want to encounter that. So we don't have any data to actually address it, but I'd be happy to chat with you further on that. I'll drop my information in the chat.
Anybody else?
I have a quick question.
Yes, please.
So, wound care and wound detection has kind of been a bit of a crowded market when it comes to startups, but nobody's kind of risen to the top. So what is your process and how are you going to get to market?
Excellent question. The wound care is crowded. There are a lot of big players in the market. It's every big name you can think of, they're there. What's unique is smart devices in wound care is very few actually players in this space.
So sorry to interrupt.
2 or 3 companies.
I was meaning wound care detection and smart technology. I've seen so many startups that have done this. So I'm speaking specifically to startups that have had something similar to you. How are you going to rise to the top? Because nobody's gotten to the market yet.
Good question. So there's quite a few actually detection or imaging technologies, but none of them have therapeutic value. We are a smart device, but therapeutic smart device, and we're the only one that is actually bioelectroceutical device that addressing that issue. So we actually are quite different in that respect.
They're different in that they actually speed up the healing by 20% versus the others, if I understand it. And Marika, that was actually the right question to ask. I do agree.
And then having the see-through feature is actually a pretty big deal because when you undo a bandage, it's actually pretty uncomfortable and it disturbs the wound. And so if you can avoid that and time it where it's actually needed, then it's actually a lot more convenient for those patients.
We're going to have to move on. I wish you the best. It is a very crowded field, it turns out. Okay, and then Jill is next. Is that right, Norma? Okay, so
yeah. Yes.
Okay, Jill, there you go. Jill, you're up. And then Tori, you will be back, and then we will be back in the queue for the rest of the night. Go ahead, Jill.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm Jill Embry, and I don't know why I am not showing up because I do have my camera on. You can see me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I can't see you. I can't see me. Zoom. First of all, thank you, everybody. I am the CEO of Integrity Research and Development. We are kind of a niche product development company. We don't actually do internal development, but we either work with your internal team or any team of your choice, or we'll find a team for you to do your prototyping, your functional prototyping, and get you ready for manufacturing. The thing that we do that's unique to most of the product development companies out there, and the thing that we have seen with a lot of the startups that we've worked with, is 99% of them do not know about, we hear about the regulatory submissions, but the regulatory process, the regulated processes that are required for medical devices, starting with design control, ISO 13485, your design history file, your risk management file, your trace matrix. I can't say that tonight. And everything that goes into getting a product to market, which is key, goes past your regulatory submission so that you can keep your doors open once you make it to market. The other thing about it is that I have sat on the other side of the table with large companies if you're looking to be acquired, and I do that due diligence, and I make sure from that perspective that everything is in place, because if we have to do a remediation, it's very, 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 very costly. So it doesn't make sense if we can't replicate what you've done to acquire you. So we can do anything from doing your biocomp assessment, overseeing your biocomp testing, writing the reports. We can write your protocols, your reports for your testing. We can be a subject matter expert or advisor on your team for your design reviews. Anything that you need, we can pretty much do it. We've all been development engineers in both large companies and startups, and anything in between. We have a broad range of experience. I mentioned last night, I started out in advanced wound care at J&J, have worked in startups, worked on robotics, worked in neurointerventional radiology across the board, and my team members all have broad range of experience.
Wow, you are an all-star, and I hope some of the medical device companies will reach out to you. I'd like to introduce you to Elias Therapeutics. Dr. Isaac Elias was here last night, and you might be able to help us with this, with our solution for sepsis. I'd be curious, does your company ever invest or take equity in exchange for creating their prototypes, and or do you have investors that believe in your company's ability to help startups and great ideas? Is there any way to bridge or leverage what you guys have created beyond just being hired?
Yeah, it's interesting because we have not looked at getting investors, and that would be helpful. But, one of the things that we've thought about as far as marketing to accelerators and incubators, VCs, because one of the things we can do is go in and say, okay, let's look at this company before you invest. And are they following the process, or can we work with you to kind of teach them the process? And I mean, we've, working at large companies, and we've got 20 plus years of experience individually. We worked at a time where, you had to do everything. So we had to get around patents. You work for Medtronic, you're looking at patents and searching through them and saying, okay, these are the claims. How can I get around them? Helping write the claims for patents so that, okay, this is what you have, but then what other claims can you do to prevent other people from getting around it? Anything from the biocomps, sterilization validations, really all the way through design transfer, quality management systems, writing your SOPs, all of that we've all had to do. So, it's just, and we work as a team because not all of us have the same experience. I have a weird experience. I did the first 2 years of medical school, did a preceptorship for a year and a half, switched to grad school for biomedical engineering, and I was a bio major, chem minor in undergraduate. So, my breadth of experience is, huge. So.
Do you ever sit on advisory boards of startup companies?
I have not, but I'm willing to.
You sound like the perfect match for some of the people that come to our community and need your expertise. Does anybody have a comment or a quickie question?
Yeah, just a quick one, Jill. Great presentation. But like as Mark said, you have such a wealth of expertise and experience, and I think, yeah, like you said, I think it would just behoove you to really be able to broaden that and tie it into a number of those who made the presentations last night. But also just kind of focus on who it is that when you said the we, maybe you need your information behind you as to who the we is, and just kind of tighten up maybe your top 3 areas of specialization so that people can really get a feel for what your priority issues are. I mean, like I said, you've got a broad range there, and it was just kind of a lot to kind of connect with. So I think, whatever those priority areas are, and then just kind of build from there. But, great presentation. But, I think just to kind of present from a marketing standpoint and a branding standpoint, who is that we that brings all of that expertise and experience?
Next time you come, you can add that to your pitch. Mita's right. We're going to move on, though, because the clock is ticking. And that was a great pitch, though. Really appreciate you being here. Tori, Norma, am I right? Tori's next?
Yes, but Jill, why don't you get on Mark's calendar? Jill, get on
Mark's calendar. I want to meet you. Yeah. Your skills are so amazing. I hope to fit you into our world. Tori, you're up next.
Okay, thank you.
Well, thank you so much. And this community has been amazing since I became intro to everyone. We've had multiple VC meetings, lots of interest. What we make at Endiotics are little robotic pills that actually swim inside your stomach. I'm an aerospace engineer. I've been designing med devices for 17 years. And my lifelong dream is to take a little bit of the sci-fi that we're all exposed to as children and push that into healthcare technology. And so specifically what I'm going after with my team is we are trying to create the world's first truly virtual endoscope. I think during COVID, we all noticed the value potential that telemedicine has. And rather than just being pure digital health, we think that with this little moving eyeball in the stomach, I've swallowed 19 of these so far, we think that this little swimming eyeball that gives a doctor a live video feed is kind of a good entry-level way to get tiny little robots moving inside the body. And so initially, I would like to give gastroenterologists a basic entry-level endoscope, but virtual, so that they could actually just look around in your stomach over a Zoom call. The prep we do when we're doing a little PillBot endoscopy is you basically have to drink a bunch of water, fill up your belly, skip your breakfast, swallow this admittedly kind of scary pill, and then basically it's a video game. It's kind of fun. We're actually using our iPhones to control the robot now, so we're really trying to dematerialize the traditional endoscopy. The market's kind of interesting if we can pull it off. Around the world, there are about 70 million upper endoscopies per year, and we're just trying to create like an easy, quick way to look around in there. A little bit of company traction. We raised about $4 million. We have an agreement in place with Mayo Clinic. Their top gastroenterologist is an investor, sits on our board of directors. And while we're going after the world's belly aches to make it easier to look around, we're also hoping that we start to pick up stomach cancers because, as everyone knows, once you feel a cancer of any kind, usually it's a little bit too late to cure it. And we think if we can make it super cheap, super easy and accessible, we're going to start catching stomach cancers in time to cure them. And this is $35 of off-the-shelf parts. So everyone, thank you so much for your time this evening. We appreciate it.
I love the idea of it, but is it possible you might be able to make the device smaller so it's easier to swallow? That was one of the first, when I started to get to know you, that was my first instinct.
That's a great question. So right now we're fatter than most, but shorter than some pill cameras. But about 1 in 20 patients will refuse even the smallest pill camera. And so there are limitations on how much benefit you get as you go really small. To be honest, though, we want to go rice grain size and go to other parts of the body eventually. So it is on our roadmap to go a little bit smaller.
Okay, and then, how long does it take to go through the body? So, you're not going to have a doctor sit there looking at all that. Can't it be reviewed by a computer and then, important things identified so that doctors don't have to, it's got to be 2 days? How long does it take to go through?
So we're only active for about 5 to 15 minutes in the stomach. And that's during the time that a doctor would traditionally be manipulating an endoscope. But we do pass through the body in about 6 to 24 hours typically.
Okay, so you don't actually you're not videotaping the entire journey all the way through. You're really only capturing the stomach.
Correct. Upper endoscopies are 7 million procedures in the US every year, 70 million abroad. And so if we can be a moving eyeball in the stomach, we think there might be some value there.
Okay, got it. All right. Is a big piece of the equation a battery that's causing this thing to be so big?
Oh man, actually, it's battery has gotten a lot smaller. Electric motors have gotten a lot smaller. The device is not shrunk to the size of its components, but rather it is a balloon essentially to float the weight of those components. And so we could make it mechanically smaller, but it's critical that it gets lighter along with that. But that's just a lot of fun mechanical engineering.
Anybody else have a quick question?
Yeah, I have a quick question, Tori. So as far as you said that it goes in the stomach, but could this be used for like a prostate exam?
I don't want to gross anyone out, but I've swallowed 19 of these, and I will say that we've played around with water and cleaning and inflation. Anyone familiar with a colonic machine would understand that we can probably do a walk-in, no-prep colonoscopy if you're willing to go to a clinic and get some water up there. But that's the basic route. That would not be in your living room, though. That would be the difference.
Interesting.
Sorry, I've got a quick question. Have you thought about the utility to look for the effects when you're taking a drug? So, for example, non-steroidals and the effect they have on the gut. Have you married up with testing of some of the newer products or some of the products to see how they affect the gut as they go through?
Yeah, we were at Digestive Disease Week and we were approached by numerous scientific groups that want to use PillBot as a delivery mechanism. My goal is first to show that it's safe and effective to have a look around in the stomach, but then use that platform and use that growing relationship with FDA to begin to actually do things. Let's put the TX in the Endiotics.
All right. I like this. You know, it's very cutting edge and futuristic. Really nice story. We got to move on. Lynn, you're up next.
Thank you, Mark. So we've had some amazing products, and I'm sure there's more to come. I'm Lynn Donaldson from Connecte Strategic Solutions, and we are product launch experts using our 3 Ps: people, the team we build, product, the product development, the strategy development for the product launch, and process, which is our tool that we use to help you build your strategy. Everybody's excited about the amazing products and the services that you're developing. It's your baby, we get it. And you've developed your launch strategy, but the information and documents are all in different people's computers, or they're in so many different places, and it's really hard to keep track. You think you've got the implementation plan nailed down, but your team are not communicating. They're asking the same questions over all the time. Where's this? Why are we doing that? What are the timelines? And this can be incredibly frustrating for you, but not with Lilly Launch Tools, which was designed just for the pharmaceutical and medical devices industries. We put your strategy and implementation plan all into one little package so that everybody can see from goals down to the tactics, from goals, objectives, strategy, tactics, key activities. Everything's housed in one place. You can put your presentations in there. You can put all the details. Everybody on the team knows what they're doing, why it ladders up to the goals, what you're trying to achieve. You can put your vision and mission in there. And so everybody knows what you're doing. Right. We need investors who want to help us grow and scale. We've already got the product. We've already got users. We've already just redone version 2. We want to help companies like you launch better, faster, and smoother with Lilly Launch Tools. And I've been in the life science industry the whole of my life, and I am seeing some amazing technologies, some amazing ideas, and we want to help you get there and launch those products so that the patient, your mom, your dad, our uncle can actually use those products. So welcome to Lilly Launch Tools. Welcome to Connecte Strategic Solutions Group. We help you launch your valuable products so that patients can get them the most.
Am I right that you have a special offer for venture starters, community people?
We do. Anybody who signs up for Lilly Launch Tools will get an extended trial, and Rajiv and I, my partner in this, we will help you get your product launch strategy into the product. The more people using it, we want to make sure that you get the best approach. So Rajiv and I are putting our time in to help you get the best out of the tool, but more so launch your products.
Anybody have a quick question?
Lynn,
go ahead. Sorry.
Lynn, that was an excellent presentation. And thank you for offering that to the members. That was very nice of you to do that.
No worries. Thank you.
I have another quick question. What makes your product specialized for the industries that you're targeting?
So it was designed specifically for pharmaceutical and medical devices industry, because we go in and help clients, big pharma and small pharma clients, build their strategy. And what was being asked of us as our consultants was they were either using Excel sheets, which kind of fall over and don't work properly, or they were using Microsoft Project, which was unwieldy and hard to use. And so we looked at the problem and thought, how can we help these clients? So I've been steeped in this industry the whole of my working career. And my consultants have worked with many companies, helping them launch their valuable products. And so we have designed this specifically for this industry. You can do local, global, different regions, different functions. It's firewalled so that marketing and medical can't actually see each other's work. It's completely safe in terms of the security. That's the biggest thing, because I've worked in this industry, again, my whole of my life, and I know what are the pain points of any software going into a pharmaceutical or a life science company. Does that answer your question?
By the way, Bill, for reasons that I can never figure out, some of us have Zoom apps where when you just talk after you have raised your hand, it automatically unraises your hand. So as I recall, you were, I think, ahead of Dina. Before, I'm just guessing, but I'll try and get you back in the queue, because just by mere raising your hand, I mean, just by asking the question, you were kicked out of the queue.
Thanks, Mark. Thank you.
Have to sort of keep an eye on that, because this continues to happen to like a small percentage of us but I don't want those of you who raise your hand to not want to ask questions. That's what makes me nervous, is you won't, because you think you get knocked out of the queue. So please let us know if for some reason this happens, so we can sort of like mitigate the technology issues that we have. Stephen, you're up next.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Norma. My name is Stephen Coates. The name of my company is G6G Tech, and the product is called G6G Finder. That's FINDR, which stands for Finding and Recommending. So what we've done is created a very targeted search engine, and the end user in this case is somebody doing research in either bioinformatics or artificial intelligence. And the question we're answering specifically is, which software product should I be using? For example, in gene expression, there may be like 100 software products you could be using for gene expression. And the point is to narrow down which ones to try or to use first, or even read about first, because to scope each of these out takes a long time. This is a platform. This is our first use case, so to speak. It could be used also for other verticals such as energy or law or IoT or blockchain, things like that. But specifically, our database is human curated and targeted at bioinformatics and AI software. This is essentially the opposite of ChatGPT, because ChatGPT is a little of everything from the web, garbage and all, so to speak, whereas this is only the good stuff. We've weeded out all the junk, and we continue to add to it. Of course, we'll probably evolve to somewhere in the middle, like a small language model, if you will. It's a seasoned team of people. We're looking for 100 to 200,000 angel money, and eventually $1 million or $2 million. The initial money for marketing, we have a product that works. It's online. You can use it today. And then to expand to other verticals and improve the product that we currently have. That's pretty much it. Any questions?
Any questions of Stephen?
Stephen, I think what you're doing is fascinating, but I couldn't quite hear what you were saying. It kind of sounded like you were whispering, like you're telling somebody a secret. I mean, maybe that has like an appeal and a good effect, but I don't know, maybe it's your mic setting.
No, I think there is an issue there. And Stephen,
Okay, how about now? Is that better?
It is better, but for some reason you were coming. It was a little difficult to hear. Does anybody else have a quick question? Stephen, we'll have to have you back when we have can hear you better in a future event.
Okay.
It wasn't really that clear, unfortunately. But meet Stephen in the chat if anybody is interested. We're moving on. James, you are up next.
Yeah, awesome. Hey, everyone. My name is James Murray, and I'm the founder and CEO of Somnia Health, and we help patients get their sleep back. Look, most of us struggle to sleep, and late night pitch calls don't help. But for 100 million Americans, it's actually an underlying sleep disorder, such as sleep apnea or insomnia, that's causing those restless nights. Turns out we're terrible at managing these conditions. Oh, I see what you're saying. My hand went down. Oops.
Yeah.
Turns out, yeah, all good. It's okay for me. I'm pitching. Turns out we're terrible at managing these conditions. The majority of patients that start treatment quit within their first 12 months. I would know I'm one of them. I was diagnosed with sleep apnea 8 years ago, and I've been managing my condition since. I really struggled that first year. It wasn't until I went to go work for the market leader in this space that I truly understood the opportunities available to patients and the scale of the problem in this industry. That's why at Somnia, we're building a digital care platform to help these patients get their sleep back. Our solution consists of 3 key components. So it's a software platform that provides patients with a digital-first experience to engage them in their care. It's a team of sleep experts that monitor and coach the patients to help them succeed at managing their condition. And it's personalized intervention backed by behavioral science. And we power that with data that we integrate from medical devices. We partner with sleep medicine providers. So these are the doctors that diagnose and treat these conditions. And we give them the software, the staffing, and the data that they need to establish longitudinal care through remote patient monitoring. In doing so, we not only help them improve their patients' outcomes, but we also help them add a new revenue line to help them grow their practice. At scale, a typical practice would expect to generate an additional $400,000 in incremental revenue through Somnia. And through our per patient per month pricing, we take roughly 50% of that. Doctors working with our program have increased patient compliance by 42 minutes per night and per patient revenue by 23%. Patients love us too. We have a 96% satisfaction rate. And last month, patients spent 157 hours looking at our content on our platform. We signed our first annual contract this summer and began generating revenue in July. Given my experience in the industry, we've already built a sales pipeline over 1.4 million, are on track to add a second later this month. After completing Techstars earlier this year, we're looking to raise $700,000 in pre-seed funding to invest in the team and the product and help us scale to $1 million in ARR. If you're excited about what we're working on, I'd love to connect. If you maybe got kicked out of bed because you snore too much, I'd also be happy to connect and help you out. Thanks for the time.
So James, why wouldn't the doctors in this field be just throwing money at you if they can gross $400,000 extra a year?
Yeah, so good question, Mark. And I've seen that when we sell into the accounts. Too good to be true, right? I think it's new. It's remote patient monitoring, so it's new reimbursement that was introduced in 2019. And I think for sleep providers, just with the numbers, it kind of feels too good to be true. So actually, that's what we've had success in selling is we start small. So we say, let's start with 30 patients. We think 10% of your patients are going to be good candidates for this. But the reality is 50% of patients drop off treatment are probably eligible for RPM and need the additional support. So I think it's just changed within the industry. We've got one main competitor that's also selling into these accounts, and it's just kind of slowly turned the minds. But when I talk to doctors, I was just at a sleep conference this weekend. They get it. They feel the pain. Their patients are struggling. They're getting the inbound of patient support requests, and that's eating up their staff time with unreimbursed effort. And so they like the solution, and it's more just figuring out how it incorporates into their practice and get them going.
But if they invest in you and you say to them, I won't take the 50% instead of the 50-50 split because you're an early risk investor, I mean, if you can't convince them to invest, this is what's going on in my mind is if they're not going to invest, but this seems like a no-brainer. If these are the people you're going to do business with, you would think that some would invest money in exchange for no fees, no 50-50 split, because they can recoup their investment back really fast if they really think this is going to work. I would work on that, I would think, than pitching people outside of the industry. But that's just my instinct listening to you. Does anybody else have any questions?
James, just a quick statement, because I too I was diagnosed with chronic sleep apnea, but now that I'm a caregiver, it's good that I don't sleep. So I can keep an eye on what's going on. But I'm just concerned because there's a large market with the insomnia and, with elderly. I mean, have you looked at maybe the nursing homes, VA hospitals, things like that, where you have kind of a captive audience, or looking at in that elder care arena, because there is a significant market for insomnia treatment and support services there.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I hadn't actually thought about elder care. We have been talking to folks at the VA. That's definitely a population that's impacted by this, but that's a great suggestion. Thank you.
And AARP.
Yeah.
Because they're very strong advocates in various support services in the prescription health arena. So anything that's going to help save money and provide support services for their marketplace, they're always interested in hearing about. But great pitch and good luck to you. And I might be reaching out to you one of those days when I want to try to get some sleep again. Thanks.
We can hook you up with one of our coaches. Thanks.
I'm going to mute the room because we have a few extra open mics, and I just want to make sure we don't have any more Background noise. Thank you, James. Sorry, I was a little tough on you on my perspective, but that's just my opinion. Corinne, you're up next. Oh, did I miss somebody that I was supposed to insert in yet? No, that's still I'm sorry. Bill Donahue is still a couple more down. I'm sorry. Corinne, you're up next.
Awesome. Hey, everyone. My name's Corinne Vargas. I'm the founder of Smart Charts. I'm a former actuary turned licensed speech language pathologist. And I can tell you as a clinician, it's really cool because I've seen patients say their first words, to be able to tell, stories from the past post-stroke. But it also sucks because the documentation in speech, occupational, and physical therapy is extremely time consuming. On average, a therapist spends 1 full day a week documenting their therapeutic notes. These same notes are not readable to patients and the rest of the care team in accessible ways that help with decision-making and increasing patient motivation. And that is what Smart Charts does. We turn progress into pictures in spaces where speech, occupational, and physical therapy are provided. You can kind of think of it as Google Analytics for therapeutic rehabilitation. And we really help the care team understand what's going on with complex patients with everything from stroke to traumatic brain injury to post-surgery and cancers and beyond. We are about to launch our second product, our beta product, which will be EHR integrated. And we have a $25,000 pilot with a leading California organization supporting over 2,200 patients. However, our initial product attracted over 650 clinicians, in which we were able to see them saving time on communications with patients and among themselves. Our model is B2B, charging per clinician per month at an organizational level. And our key really to market entry at these larger levels that we learned is that clinicians want this where they work. So we are launching in October the Epic and/or Cerner integrated version that will allow clinicians to automate those notes and turn them into patient-friendly pictures for little kiddos as young as 4, post-speech diagnoses to anyone post knee or hip replacement. We are a Techstars-backed company, a Prime Health Innovation Challenge winner, and we just received National Science Foundation pitch approved for rehabilitation and machine learning. Again, my name is Corinne Vargas, and I am not only a patient myself who has gone through numerous knee surgeries and frustrated with not understanding my progress, but also the daughter of a stroke survivor, and we really need the solution. My ask is we are raising a pre-seed fund via Safe Notes, as well as we are actively looking for a CTO that has integration experience. Thanks so much.
All right, it sounds very impressive. By the way, I might be able to find you a CTO. We can talk about that separate. Does anybody have any questions? Wow. Okay. Well,
who's your first customer? Like, who's the first person you're thinking about? This company needs my product. They don't even know it yet.
Yep. We're actually working with the #1 rehabilitation hospital in the nation. We're here in Chicago. Shirley Ryan Ability Labs to decipher what those research projects would be in terms of using the machine learning and AI generated patient demographic plans of care post large events such as strokes, Parkinson's, or MS. The ideal client for us at this stage, after our testing with those 650 clinicians, is a provider in outpatient therapeutic rehab who is using one of the leading EHRs, so an Epic or Cerner user.
All right, Corinne, I'm actually quite fascinated by it, but I need to move us on. We have 19 minutes left. I want to try and get as many people in as I can tonight. Brandon, you're up next.
Thanks, Mark, and thanks for inviting me. It's great to see so many familiar faces in the grid tonight. It's pretty unusual. So I'm Brandon Wollner. I have been a consultant in biotech for over 10 years. What makes me different from all the other consultants out there? Well, there's something I learned from a mentor many years ago that can be summarized as know what you see when you see it. What that means is I've been through the development process many times, and I can leverage that experience to recognize and predict roadblocks and choke points and mitigate them before they become real problems. This saves time, saves money, and leads to better outcomes. Recently, I worked with Curative on their idea. They had an idea for a 10-minute multiplex real-time PCR diagnostic device. And I took that concept all the way to a 510K ready device in 16 months, which is breakneck speed. I did this using agile project management skills, as well as a network of specialists and contract organizations. They know me, I know them. We work together really, really well. And look, I just saved you a bunch of time because I'm done. I'll be back in 3 weeks to pitch a unicorn.
All right. I love that. I challenge all of you. Come on back and wow us. Yeah, 3 weeks. That would be great. And thanks for the extra time. I'm going to move on. Alon, you're up next. And after Alon, and I'm sorry, Deanna, I'm going to then insert, I think it was Bill was ahead of you, Bill Donahue. Alon, you're next.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so we are going to talk about a topic that's a bit sensitive, which is bathroom hygiene. It affects us all, but bathroom hygiene is very challenging for many millions of seniors, the disabled, and patients. Their inability to use the toilet properly and be properly cleansed results in UTIs and other infections, falls in the bathroom, loss of independence, loss of dignity, and negative impact on the social life. So for many, many millions, it's a real problem. So at Smart Hygiene, we've developed and patented the world's smartest toilet seat called the AI Bidet. It enables people to get amazing toilet hygiene with a simple press of a button. We'll add a voice command at some point in the future for the visually impaired too. But this solution benefits everyone. It benefits the user, their caregiver, the facilities. The user gains their independence, dignity, and safety, gets excellent hygiene and reduces infections. The providers save labor and cost. They achieve cleaner and safer environments, and they're reducing burden on staff and increase retention. So now this is the world's first and only smart toilet seat that uses AI and spectroscopy to identify the key anatomical regions and all the soiled areas and get the person thoroughly clean with the press of a button. We have 3 patents. 2 have already been granted. We have a working system, a working prototype. We have a manufacturing partnership with a South Korean electronic bidet manufacturer. We have 1 hospital and 8 senior living centers looking to trial our product. We are being awarded a contract by Premier, the 2nd largest GPO in the US, and one of the large distributors, Owens and Minor, has agreed to carry our product, which is going to be fantastic. We've raised $700K thus far, and we're looking for $4 million in our first round for the next 18 to 24 months. So we are bringing this product to market on a B2B model, serving over 65,000 senior care facilities, hospitals, and home care. So if you are an investor and you're interested in what we're doing and you're looking to revolutionize toilet hygiene as we know it, please get in touch with me. Thank you, and I'm happy to take questions.
I'd like to see your deck. How much is it going to cost to buy it?
So when we're going to sell it, the MSRP is going to be $695, which is relatively cheap.
Why would you not think this would be a B2C item?
It will be a B2C in the future, but our biggest value proposition, our strongest value proposition is for people who need help, which is the elderly, the disabled, and patients. And it saves the hospitals money to use the product. It saves them labor. They get all sorts of wonderful benefits. But ultimately, once we show that, forget about Smart Hygiene, forget about me for a second. Once anybody shows that this is actually possible, that you can bring technology to bear in such a way that you can press a button, come out clean, then why would you ever want to use dry paper? You know,
I think that this is just me. I think that there is a huge number of households where there are seniors and caregivers that are family members that are dealing with this issue, that if it could be resolved for as cheap as $695, I mean, literally, you know, families renovating their bathrooms to take care of.
Oh
their
yeah,
that cost the $15,000-$20,000.
Absolutely, Mark.
And
everything
the
just
decision, a consumer decision happens instantly, but selling into a hospital, bureaucratic hell, right?
Well, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised.
I would also add that those
so-
with like who have GI issues like Crohn's, ulcerative colitis,
Oh yeah.
you know, would
Big
also
benefits. People with hemorrhoids
and
as
they're
well.
not in nursing homes, so they would be a B2C.
Like, how much revenue do you have now?
Zero.
Zero. I mean, my guess is you'll scale up revenue very fast if you can take it to consumers, and you may scale up faster than going to your target audience, unless you have already talked to buyers and literally they're ready to send you purchase orders. But if you have to educate them and you don't personally know them, then I'm not so sure that's the market to go after unless you bring somebody on your team who has those relationships where they've already sold to those people, they have received checks from those people, and they have a relationship where they close on those people. But if you're gonna, because it sounds like it's a great idea, I apologize for infusing my opinions here.
No, that's okay. So time is up. Let me just make two very, very brief points, Mark. So number one, I have a superstar on my team that sold to hospitals and senior. Our beachhead market is senior living centers. That's our beachhead market. That's what we're going after first. Now, the second quick point is what you're talking about is the home healthcare market, where people care for relatives and home attendant comes in. And we are absolutely going after that market too. That's our second after the beachhead of senior living.
And I'll tell you why this would work at the consumer level faster is because news stations around the country are looking for sensational news stories to put on air. They don't actually put real news anymore. They're an entertainment company. And if you had the right PR packet that was with already digital content that was going out to news stations across the country, you would get $100 million in free publicity because you're talking about toilets. And if it's not right, this is actually like, I mean, I'm telling you, you could scale up the free publicity, free advertising. And if you could even find a celebrity to get involved on the consumer side of this thing, then this is a grand slam. And
Mark,
it's just an idea.
It's a great idea. I'm on your calendar. We'll talk. Sorry, go ahead, Crystal.
Hi, my name is Dr. Cristal Padiello. Mark, if I might contribute to that, you have a huge potential for non-dilutive funding here because there have been numerous studies published by the National Institutes of Health about links between UTI infections in the elderly due to poor toilet hygiene and accelerated rates of dementia, right? So and that's usually because of chronic, specific species of chronic E. coli infections. So like there is a wealth of non-dilutive funding available for you in this specific field. And you know, building upon what Mark said, it's a topic that people would love to discuss.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with that with regard to Dr. Cristal and Mark. And of course, you know, the veteran component goes without saying. And right now, it's a unique opportunity, particularly if we're talking, because you mentioned bidets. Women don't usually know the situation with a bidet. So I'm hoping you're talking about this from a co-ed perspective. But the VAs right now are in a transitional scenario because they're now updating their facilities that have been traditionally male dominated. They do not have specific and enough facilities geared towards women. So this is a unique opportunity. And don't forget the colleges and universities, the level of traffic and the UTI scenario within those facilities is also on the rise. So don't limit yourself. And as Mark said, there's a number of housing developments, senior care living, veteran housing, transitional housing that could definitely benefit from what you're bringing to the table. So,
Thank you,
let's talk about doing those bells and whistles and doing what you got to do.
It was a fun conversation, but I need to move us along.
Thank you all.
Yes, Mark, our fearless
I have a
leader.
quick question. Mark, I have a quick question. So, Ilan, just the amazing things that you're doing. So, I just have a quick question. How is this different than the bidets that are in the market that are both automated as well as manual, available in Japan, Korea, and other Asian
Exactly.
markets that have like advanced technology there?
Good question.
So, good question. So our product is the only bidet that does not have a remote control, doesn't have any adjustments, doesn't have any knobs or things to tweak. We have a single button, you press it, and we take over and we get you thoroughly clean, and we verify that you're thoroughly clean. That's a big difference. So you may be able to, yeah, big difference that we can verify that you're clean, and we will clean in 2 dimensions. Our nozzle moves in 2 dimensions, not only 1 dimension. We identify the feces, we get you thoroughly clean. Now, these complicated remote controls or control panel, you may be able to figure them out, but your mother won't, and your grandmother certainly won't.
Okay, we're gonna have to move on. There's so much that we could all just have fun talking about that topic. Anyways, all right. So, and I apologize. Let's see, Bill Donahue, you're the next to speak, and we'll try and go a few more minutes. But please, nobody raise your hand. Anybody else? We cannot. Yeah, Bill, you're up next.
Great. Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Norma. I'm Bill Donahue, President, CEO, founder of CarePoint Solutions. I wasn't sure if I should pitch at this event or the unicorn event coming up. We're very late stage. We're only looking for an additional $50,000 or $100,000 in angel money to top off the fuel tanks before we launch a breakthrough SaaS utility in diagnostics. ProQCP is the product. It's a SaaS utility designed in collaboration with over 40 point-of-care coordinators and lab directors. We provide an expert-guided risk assessment of a lab's entire test process. Most errors in pre-analytical stage, and we can identify those errors in real time. The program uses machine learning to generate a superior quality control plan, and it implements a continuous improvement process. ProQCP addresses a seismic shift in clinical lab regulations right now, worldwide, that now require a comprehensive risk assessment for improved quality. It is worldwide appeal as it fills the rather urgent need created by recent changes to the US CLIA regulations, as well as just in February, ISO updated their standard 15189 that essentially mandates a product like ours, requiring a comprehensive risk assessment of the test process. We're on the front lines of the battle versus diagnostic error, and our QA utility goes through healthcare system like a Pac-Man, gobbling up diagnostic errors wherever they're found. We're first movers. We're competing with Excel spreadsheets, and it's a highly specialized, federally regulated market. So we think we're going to be pretty immune from competition for a little bit. We're optimizing a lab's most critical workflow, delivering accurate and timely test results. ProQCP has a huge value prop. We save time, we save lives, we enhance quality, and we ensure regulatory compliance. And will be embraced by labs largely because we help satisfy and ensure regulatory compliance. But because most diagnostics drives most healthcare decisions, our larger value is improving patient outcomes and driving economies and efficiencies throughout the healthcare system. So I put my contact information in the chat. I've got plenty more information I can share. If you're interested at all, let us know.
And we'll see you in 2 or 3 weeks for the unicorn event. And I'm gonna just postpone the Q&A so we can get some quick pitches in. I'm so sorry to everybody, but I think it's necessary. Deanna, you're up next.
Hey guys, I'm Deanna Dammers. I'm the VP of Investor Relations for Kific Biomedical. Mark, I have some updates, and so I just want to fill everybody in if you didn't see me about 6 months ago, but Kific Biomedical has developed a breakthrough medical technology utilizing biologic fluid. Our device is the world's first and only wearable that extracts interstitial fluid on a non-invasive and continuous basis, delivering real-time lab results. Interstitial fluid, if you're not familiar, points to over 10,000 biomarkers in the body, and it's about 12% more than blood. Our wearable is going to be instrumental in early detection of disease, drug development, create new opportunities within remote managed diagnostics. And things are moving really quickly here at KEFIC. We've actually signed our Series B, and to the tune of $60 million with a global VC. And that team has given us a valuation of $185 million, and it's going to be announced in the next week. And so it's about an 85% uptick from our Series A, which we're attempting to close. We've got only about $3 million left in the round, and that is the $100 million valuation. And we've also had some traction with customers, and we are getting ready to sign our first LOI within our animal health division. And so lots of exciting stuff going on here. We just began our non-GLP study on a pig. We're going to human trials next month and FDA in November. So thanks. That's it.
All right. Good. I love hearing these updates from people, and come back on Unicorn Night. It sounds like you'll qualify. Thank you. Mike, you're up next.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Mark and Norma. Appreciate being here. MedWatch Technologies is doing a non-invasive continuous glucose monitoring wearable. We've just completed one clinical trial. We're in our next clinical trial. We anticipate FDA clearance at the end of next year. We have patents that should be issuing in the next 6 months. We've got over 100 patents in our roadmap. Really strong IP position, including defense of the IP. We have our pre-sub meeting in 6 days. We just got a letter this week from the FDA, basically validating our 510(k) pathway. Our chief medical officer and our chief research officer both oversaw Dexcom's G6 clinical trial on behalf of Optum. We have a clear go-to-market strategy. We're doing everything under design controls, ISO 13485, got our design history files, and Jill talked about that earlier. A really strong team, J&J, Medtronic, Stryker, Intertech Experience, and some others. Really excited to present to everybody. I'm going to be very brief because we're trying to get through everybody else, but let me share a pro tip for you.
Whoa, you got to go back off mute somehow. Sorry about that, Mike.
I said, let me share a pro tip. In the lower right-hand corner where you type a chat, there's 3 horizontal lines there. Click it and click Save Chat, and that will save the chat history so you can review it later and capture anybody's details that presented earlier. And if you would like our deck, please direct message me or just drop it in and say deck, and I'll be happy to do that. I posted my details. I'm happy to schedule an offline meeting and share a lot more details. And if there's any orthopedic surgeons on here, our chief operating officer brought Aricept to market. So really good track record across the board. And that's all I have. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Mike. And just because we have, oh my gosh, we still have 7 people. Can we do 90-second pitches? We're at 7:30 here in LA, 9:30 or 10:30 on the East Coast. So I feel bad keeping all of you here. So let's just try and do quicker, not a minute and a half pitch. Thank you, clock manager. Simona, you're up next.
Yes, you guys, I am here to just spread the word about a campaign I'm doing. It's called Show Us Your Flex. So I'm going to bring some energy to the group here. If everybody can just show me your flex real quick, if you're still in the building, we're doing an awesome campaign and I'm so excited to share this with you guys. I am the founder of Foster Beats, which I did pitch once, and I'm going to get this out really quick. So it is a correlation between agri-tech and med-tech. knowing that we deal with holistic health. I am a health and wellness advocate, so that was part of why I did this, but it's also because I am a unicorn. I'm the disruptor of the greenhouse industry, and I think that if you guys will consider my pitch, what I'm looking to get out of this for now, I do have a solution. What it is that I'm providing a supplement for the greenhouses. And I thank you for your time. I'm going to make it short, but it's Flex for Foster Youth. My name is Simona, and I'm here to create jobs for foster youth using the campuses that my college, and we're going to spread it from every campus nationwide. And I'm so excited to be a part of the unicorn. So thank you for your time.
All right, there you go. We're gonna move on. No questions. Sorry, we just don't have time. I'm gonna have challenges with your first name. Awatapu. I'm so sorry.
It's Oluwatobi. Thank you very much, Mark. I'm Oluwatobi, CEO and co-founder of Anywhere Health. Imagine a world where access to quality healthcare is no longer a luxury, but a fundamental right. That's the world we at Anywhere Health are working to tirelessly create. In Nigeria and across Africa, there are millions that lack convenient and affordable healthcare options, leading to high mortality rates. Traditional healthcare systems struggle to meet the needs of the growing population, leaving people with limited access and long wait times and high costs. Anywhere Health steps in to provide a revolutionary telehealth platform, that kind of bridges the gap between the patient and the healthcare provider, connecting the third world countries to first world healthcare services. We are not just about virtual doctor consultations. We also provide, we are committed to holistic healthcare. Our platform provides mental health support and health education and access to medical records. The market is growing. In Africa, the telehealth market is about $18 billion. And every year there is a $1 billion spent outside of the country trying to get medical support. So trying to make sure we are bridging the gap between the healthcare discrepancies across Africa. And we are seeking 1.5 million for our seed money. We already have an MVP, and we are looking for some money to roll out our product in Q1 of next year. Thank you very much.
Thank you for pitching. Appreciate it. Bill, you're up next.
Hi, I'm Bill Whitmire. I'm the founder of a company called Pulmostics. Pulmostics is engaged in the field of breath analysis. We have an instrument that I introduced this to people about 6 months ago. I can tell you right now, we can get down to detecting compounds at about 1 part in 20 parts in a quadrillion. To give you what that amounts to, that is, we can detect something at a concentration down in 10 to the minus 14. Our application right now is breath analysis for high cost, high social cost diseases. In particular, we're looking at cancers, breast and lung cancer. We're conducting clinical trials in Mexico on breast cancer. We are negotiating a large-scale 5,000 woman trial in China with a Chinese group that is out of Beijing Medical University to do 5,000 women in breast cancer. And we're looking right now for $1 million to sustain operations to complete the clinical trials. Our launch markets are going to be developing markets, Mexico and other emerging countries. The data we get in China will be useful to bring us back into the US FDA for approval as a novel screening technology. With that, thank you. I'll put the details in the chat. Look forward to talking to you afterwards.
Thanks, Bill. I love what you're doing, and I sure hope you make it to the finish line. It makes so much sense. So, and I appreciate all the updates we get from you. Up next is Juan Baez.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for sticking around. I appreciate your time. My name is Juan Baez. I'm the co-founder of Inside Out Therapeutics, sorry. We talked, we touched on a hot topic today, which is mental health. Imagine if there was a system or a model out there that could tell you some KPIs that tell you that you're about to have a panic attack or stressful indicators. Imagine if you had a device that could actually treat a stressful situation. We've actually come up with a revolutionary headphone that will actually do both. Our headphone has embedded TVNS technology in the actual device that will actually take your nervous system from a sympathetic state to a parasympathetic state. Also, it has the HRV and EEG in the actual headphone, which will actually allow us to build a model in our mobile app and learn the individual and actually be able to predict stress and potential panic attacks. Device. We currently have 3 prototypes. We're working with a neural lab out in Canada to help solidify our device is doing what we're saying is doing, and we're looking for some additional seed money so we can continue to iterate on our prototypes and continue to evolve our technology. So thank you for this opportunity, and I'll post my information, and any questions, feel free to reach out.
All right, very interesting. There's a lot of money in Canada from the government. I don't know if that's possible for you or not, but that was the first idea that sprang to mind. Looking forward to hearing more from you. Jess, you're up next.
USA.Healthcare. I'm the original founder of Test Plus. On Open Corporates, I'm the first company to be named Test Plus. Now there's like probably 10. And then I'm also the founder of Carpe Diem Health, LLC. And we designed a wearable. We're trying to get that manufactured now. And then I started Pinky Fin LLC, and I launched a global vaccination brand. But it's hard to catch on sometimes. So, but I did get a valuation of $1 billion. If anybody wants to mess with me, we can definitely get some money. And but I am looking for $17,500. And I will put a link. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm partnering with brands, and that way I know what products to buy. So I'm volunteering for Red Cross. So thank you all.
All right, Jess, you got in the program here at the last minute. Our last speaker is going to be Robert.
I missed yesterday. I really wanted to be yesterday, but maybe you can pass my information along.
We were so busy yesterday, and that's what I knew we needed a second night. I was certain we wouldn't be able to get everybody in, and it turned out that was the case. Robert, you're our last speaker for the Life Science 2-day event.
Yes, hello, greetings for everybody from Poland, 4:30 a.m. here. I'm a co-founder and CEO of Clininote. Clininote is addressing the well-known dilemma between allowing doctors spend more time with doctors, less with this bureaucracy, with all these documents, data input, and so on. But on the other hand, we all know that in the era of the digital health revolution, we need much more data. So Clininote is tackling this with deep technology that can handle both. On one hand, empowering doctors to focus on what's important for them and for patients, but on the other hand, in a very, very clever way, without the need of changing existing processes, doctors' habits, and so on. They do what they did. This AI technology is getting the data and doing some interesting thing with that. The most interesting use case is speeding up the clinical trial process. So we have cooperation with a few of big pharma players who will announce it shortly. Right now, we are in the middle of $2 million seed round. We have 1 million committed, some of this on our account already, looking for the second million. And very open to discuss with you, putting my details in chat. Thank you very much.
All right, and you said you're calling from Poland. Is that, did I get that right?
Yes.
You're a hero just for even staying up as late as you did and pitching.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate you. And I appreciate all of you who are here. And on behalf of my amazing wife, Norma, we both we are so gratified that you spend your evenings with us to help try and put all the pieces together to connect the dots so we can manifest great outcomes and change the planet, have our fingerprints all over this planet in positive ways. And, you know, it's just amazing that you all keep coming back. I want to thank you all. And we're going to be back live next Wednesday. Please come back. Have a great rest of your week. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Come to Women's
Welcome.
Night. Come to Women's Night next Wednesday.
Thank you for getting that in. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.